The lighthouse keeper's diary. The sea has always been both a guide and a grave. For centuries, lighthouses stood tall against the rage of the ocean, guardians of the night, keeping sailors safe from jagged rocks and hidden shoals. But sometimes, the light inside the tower cannot protect the ones who keep it. This story begins in December of 1924, when 3 men arrived on the remote Flannan Isles to tend the lighthouse. They were never seen again, only a diary remained. The first of the 3 was Thomas Marshall, the senior keeper. A man of discipline and calm, hardened by years of storms. He carried the weight of responsibility, for he knew how unforgiving the sea could be. Alongside him came William MacArthur, the youngest, full of curiosity and dreams of adventure. He often carried a personal notebook, scribbling his thoughts about the waves, the sky, and the life he imagined beyond the endless waters. The third was James Duckett, quiet, withdrawn, superstitious. Raised by fishermen, he believed the sea had a soul, restless and hungry. The sea watches men, he used to say, and when it chooses, it swallows them whole. The supply boat dropped them off, promising to return in 2 weeks. For now, the men were alone, surrounded by nothing but rock, mist, and the eternal roar of the Atlantic. At first, life was ordinary. Thomas kept the logbook with neat, precise notes. The lighting of the great lamp each night, the cleaning of the glass, the checking of stores. William helped with chores, his eyes often lost on the horizon. James avoided the windows, never letting his gaze linger on the waves. But the sea does not stay silent for long. On the 5th night, a heavy fog rolled in, thick and unnatural. It crawled across the rocks like a living thing, swallowing the island whole. The foghorn wailed into the dark, low and mournful, rattling the stone walls of the tower. That night, William wrote in his notebook, "The fog does not behave as fog should. It seems to crawl. It seems to whisper." James grew restless. During one storm, he swore he saw a figure walking upon the water, tall and thin, moving slowly toward the rocks. Thomas dismissed it as madness, yet unease grew inside him too. At night, they began to hear footsteps on the spiral staircase. Heavy, deliberate, one step at a time. Each time Thomas checked, lantern in hand, the staircase stood empty. Doors they had locked were found swinging open. Supplies vanished without explanation. Even the gulls, once loud and fearless, circled high above but refused to land. Thomas's logbook entries turned strange. Unusual swell in the waves. Wind against the tide. Cannot explain, but William's diary was darker still. James does not sleep. He prays all night, says the sea is speaking. I think I hear it too. Days turned into weeks, and the men began to change. Thomas, once steady, grew short-tempered. James muttered to himself, refusing to climb the stairs. William wrote furiously in his diary, his words turning into riddles. The fog speaks. Something scratches the glass when the lamp goes out. It waits beneath the waves. At night, the knocking began, soft at first, like fingers tapping on the stone walls, then louder, a pounding, as if fists beat from inside the very tower. James said the walls were hollow, that something lived within them. He refused to leave the kitchen, trembling, whispering prayers. One night, Thomas awoke to find the lamp extinguished. He rushed to relight it, only to find wet footprints on the stairs. They trailed upward halfway, then stopped, vanishing into nothing. He said nothing to the others, but the next morning his hands shook as he lit his pipe. The logbook grew frantic. Supplies low, fog unrelenting. James refuses duty. William distracted. Something is not right, and William's diary turned into a descent into madness. It scratches the door. It whispers our names. Thomas denies it, but I know he hears it too. The sea is alive. It wants us. On the 13th night, the storm came. A storm unlike any before. Waves crashed against the rocks, shaking the foundation. The foghorn moaned through the darkness like a dying creature. Inside, the men huddled, silent, each lost in fear. Then came the sound. A slow, deliberate scraping against the glass, like long nails dragging across the lamp room panes. Thomas grabbed a lantern and rushed to the top, but the glass stood untouched. Still, the sound echoed inside his head, gnawing at his sanity. Below, James collapsed, clutching his ears, rocking back and forth, chanting, "It's here! It's here! It's here!" William, his hands shaking, wrote the final words in his diary. "We tried to lock the doors. It came through the fog anyway. It calls from the waves. It does not knock. It enters as it pleases. If someone finds this, do not search for us. Do not listen when it whispers." The last line was smeared, the ink blurred by water, or perhaps by blood. Only one word could be made out: it rises. That night, the storm swallowed the island whole. 2 weeks later, the relief ship Hesperus arrived. The captain grew uneasy when no one came to greet them. The lighthouse stood dark, the flag unmoving. Inside, silence. The doors unlocked, the lamp cold. In the kitchen, half-eaten meals lay untouched, chairs toppled, as if the men had risen suddenly in panic. In the bedrooms, beds unmade, abandoned. The logbook ended mid-sentence. William's diary sat on the desk, open to the final page. But what chilled the crew most were the scratches, deep gouges along the inside of the wooden door, claw marks that had torn through splinters, as though someone or something had tried to hold the door shut, or desperately tried to hold something in. No bodies were ever found. No footprints in the snow, no signs of escape. The island was empty. The men were gone. The official report claimed they had been swept away by the sea. But no storm could explain the diary. No wave could carve claw marks inside wooden walls. And still to this very day, sailors whisper that on stormy nights, when the fog drifts low over the Flannan Isles, you can see a figure in the lighthouse window, a shadow, standing tall, waving for help. But when you sail closer, the window is empty. The tower is silent. The light does not shine. Only the sea whispers.